pharmacochemistry, and our substrand is chemistry of medicines and drugs. Our learning outcome is, upon the completion of these lessons, students will be able to identify and describe some common medicines and drugs. Chemicals and drugs. Drugs are chemicals that has an influences on our body, either positive, negative, intentional, or side effects. Drugs can cause change in a person's physical and or psychological states. Most drugs are illegal and they have no medical use. Medicines, on the other hand, are drugs that are taken with the intention of healing or improving health conditions. They are used to cure, prevent, or treat illness and discomfort for people. All medicines are drugs, but not all drugs are medicines. Okay, here are some examples of legal drugs. The first type is analgesic. Analgesic is a medicine that takes away physical pain, or in simple terms, a pain reliever. Some examples of analgesic are paracetamol, acetaminophen, and an aspirin. Another type is an antipyretics. Antipyretics are substances that reduces fever, and some examples are here: aspirin and ibuprofen. Another type is an antibiotics. Antibiotics are usually used by people and they are used to treat infections or diseases caused by bacteria. Some examples are amoxicillin and penicillin. And the last type is an antacids. Antacids are a type of inorganic medication that can control acid levels in the stomach. Some examples of antacids are magnesium sulfate and bicarbonate. Chemicals in non-medicinal drugs. Cigarette is one non-medicinal drug that contains a huge number and range of inorganic compounds. When cigarettes are burnt, they create more than 7,000 chemicals, such as acetone, arsenic, lead, acetic acid, methanol, tar, nicotine, and etc. These secrets enter the body and affect the entire body, causing cancer, heart disease, and various lung diseases. Another example of a chemical of a non-medicinal drugs that contain chemicals are alcoholic beverages. These are a drink that contains substantial amount of alcohol. They can cause health effects. For example, beer. Beer produced by the saccharification of starch and fermentation of the resulting sugar. Beer contains 2 to 12% of alcohol. Another example is a wine. Wine made from fermented grapes or other crops, and it contains 9 to 16% of alcohol. The last example is a spirit. A spirit are a distilled beverage spirit, liquor or hard liquor, produced by distillation of a mixture produced from alcoholic fermentation. And these alcoholic beverages contain 40 to 80% of alcohol. Kava is also a non-medicinal drug that contain chemicals. Kava refers to the plant or the beverages prepared from the plant. When kava dried, rootstock consists of 43% starch, 20% fibers, 12% of water, 3.2% of sugar, 3.6% of protein, 3.2% of minerals, and 15% kava-lactones. Kava-lactones are the active chemical ingredients of the kava root. It can vary between 3% and 20% of rootstock dried weight depending on the age of the plant and the cultivar. And the last non-medicinal drug that contain chemicals is an inhalant. Non-medicinal inhalants are volatile substances that produce harmful chemical vapors that can be inhaled. For example, aerosols, solvents like paint thinners, petrol, markers, and other cleaning fluids. Here are some common illegal drugs. Most illegal drugs are stimulants and/or depressants. And depressants, stimulants are drugs that induce temporary improvements in either mental or physical. These may include alertness and physical activity. Depressant, on the other hand, can slow down brain activity. Examples of short-term effects of depressants include poor concentration, fatigue, dizziness, and depression. Okay, here are some examples of illegal drugs. The first one is marijuana. Marijuana is a dried plant from an herb plant. It is a plant containing mind-altering chemicals, and it acts as both stimulant and depressant, but remains in the body organs longer than alcohol. Another example is cocaine. Cocaine is a powerfully addictive stimulant. It's derived from the coca or prepared synthetically and used as a stimulant. Another example here is heroin. Heroin is a drug that's synthesized from morphine and extracted from the seed pod of the Asian opium poppy plant, and it acts as a depressant. Amphetamines are synthetic drugs that act as a stimulant. Okay, here are the activities that I want you to write as your homework, and we look at it in our next class. I hope you learned something from my presentation, and you will do this from your understanding on the topic that I've already discussed. And here are 5 questions. The first question is, give the purpose and examples of the following types of drugs: antibiotic drug, analgesic, antipyretic, and antacids. Question 2, Name some chemicals found in cigarettes. Question 3. What is the main component of any alcohol beverage? Question 4. Give the main components of dried rootstocks of kava. And the last question is classify the following legal drugs as a depressant, stimulant, or can be both. Okay, we are coming to the end of my presentation, and I hope you learned something from it worthwhile. Thank you.